Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. My name is Amber Hines, and today we're going to be talking about understanding the different types of annuities and how to handle annuities that don't comply with Medicaid. If you have any questions during today's webinar, feel free to type those into the questions tab of the GoToWebinar dashboard. And then also, if you're interested in the handouts from today's program, you can download those through the GoToWebinar dashboard as well. Again, my name is Amber Hines, and I have spent the last 15 years working with elder law and estate planning attorneys across the country to help their clients qualify for Medicaid by using a Medicaid compliant annuity. I am insurance licensed in all states, and I hold a Series 65 license with FINRA. And I created Ashfur to assist advisors and attorneys with pre-planning solutions as well as crisis Medicaid planning solutions. Some of the ways that my company can help you and your clients is that we offer complementary case analysis. What this means is if we receive information on the types of assets your clients own, their income, their ages, we can help you to determine the optimal amount to put into an annuity, the term of the annuity, and which assets your clients may consider annuitizing. So if you have clients that have existing annuities or IRA contracts that are going to be considered countable for Medicaid qualification purposes, we can help you to convert those assets into an income stream and do that in a tax efficient way. We offer assistance from the beginning to the end of a case. This means that we provide quotes for your clients. We assist with the actual funding of the annuity, especially in a situation where clients have IRAs or existing annuities they want to use to fund the annuity. And also we will assist with the death claim process if that becomes necessary. In many cases, the state Medicaid agency is going to be listed as the remainder beneficiary on the annuity. So we reach out to the state Medicaid agency if that is necessary to obtain a clearance letter, and then we would assist the contingent beneficiaries with receiving payment from the annuity as well. We work with A-rated insurance carriers, and we offer top-notch customer service. Typically, we get back to you the same day or the next day with quotes or proposals if you reach out to us for that type of information. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the different types of annuity contracts and how we can handle annuities that are not going to comply with the DRA. So annuities can be very confusing, and most of your clients do own annuities because they are one of the most popular investment vehicles, especially in retirement. So it's important to understand the different types of annuities and how to best plan with them. When we look at the two basic types of annuities, there are two basic types. The first is a deferred annuity, and the second type of contract is an immediate annuity. A deferred annuity is a contract where principal is invested into a policy. It can be withdrawn or annuitized at a later date. A deferred annuity can be surrendered and it is revocable. Therefore, deferred annuities are going to be considered an asset for Medicaid qualification purposes. Whereas if we look at an immediate annuity is a contract with an insurance carrier as well, but it is structured so that it will make a payment back to your client within 1 year of purchasing the policy. So if I have a client that purchases an immediate annuity today, it must make a payment back to the client within 1 year of today's date in order for that contract to be considered an immediate annuity. Usually the annuity is going to be structured for a certain period of time, whether it's the client's life expectancy or another term of years or months. You may also see an immediate annuity contract that's structured to pay out for the lifetime of a client, and that's referred to as a life annuity. But generally, the election to annuitize an immediate annuity, this is an irrevocable election, and it cannot be undone. So once we have an immediate annuity, we cannot convert that back into a deferred annuity, and it cannot be surrendered, or it is not a revocable contract either. So it's completely irrevocable as to the payment stream once we have the contract started for an immediate policy. First, we're going to talk about deferred annuities. Deferred annuities, like I said, is a contract that the money can be withdrawn or annuitized at a later date. When the contract is annuitized, we are converting an asset into an income stream. And like we talked about, a deferred annuity can be surrendered and is revocable. Therefore, it is an asset for Medicaid qualification purposes. And there are several different types of deferred annuities. There can be a fixed contract, a bonus contract, indexed, or variable. And this is really just indicating how the insurance company is going to credit interest to the annuity owner, whether it's a fixed rate of return of 3 or 5% each year, or if it is an index annuity, which is tied to the S&P 500. So this is really just how the annuity is going to pay interest to your client is what dictates the different type of deferred annuity. When we look at Medicaid planning with deferred annuities, since a deferred annuity can be liquidated or surrendered, it's going to be considered an asset for Medicaid qualification purposes. If your clients are looking at their options in order to convert a deferred annuity into an annuity that would comply with Medicaid, they would have two different options. They could either surrender the existing annuity or they can exchange the existing annuity. First, we're going to talk about surrendering an existing annuity. Because a deferred annuity is a lump sum of cash, the annuity owner can contact the insurance company who issued the annuity policy to surrender the contract. If they surrender the contract with the existing insurance company, the owner is going to receive a cash settlement amount, and the amount of the settlement is really going to depend on how long ago the annuity was purchased and whether there's any kind of surrender charge or early termination fee. Depending on when the annuity was purchased, the surrender charges can range anywhere from 15% down to 0%. The taxability of the settlement amount depends on whether the deferred annuity was purchased with pre-tax or IRA dollars, or if it was purchased with post-tax or non-qualified funds. On your screen, you're seeing an example of a surrender charge situation on an existing annuity. In the first year, the surrender charge could be 10%, second year 10%, third year 10%, but then as the annuity is held for multiple years, as you can see in year 10, there would be a 0% surrender charge or early termination fee. If we look at an example of a client that used $100,000 2 years ago to purchase an annuity, and let's just say 2 years later, they want to liquidate or they want a full surrender of the $100,000, instead of receiving the full $100,000 that they used to purchase the annuity, they're going to receive $90,000 because they're going to be subjected to a 10% early withdrawal or early termination fee because the insurance company was counting on being able to hold the money for over 10 years. And in this case, they want the money back earlier, so they're going to get 90,000 instead of the full 100,000 that they used to purchase the policy. When we look at the taxability of the settlement amount, this is going to depend on whether the initial annuity was purchased with qualified money or non-qualified money. If we look at an annuity that was purchased with qualified money, the contributions into the annuity are pre-tax dollars, so this money has never been taxed. And so when a distribution is made from a qualified annuity, the full amount is going to be considered taxable income. If the annuity owner withdraws money from a qualified annuity before age 59 and a half, there's going to be a 10% early withdrawal penalty, and the individual must start taking their required minimum withdrawals when they turn age 72. This is going to seem very similar to the IRA rules or money pertaining to a 401k, a 403b, or an IRA. And so we can have contracts where clients use IRAs or 401k money to purchase a qualified annuity, and that is going to dictate how the money is taxed when the client either withdraws money or if they were to surrender a qualified annuity. If we look at instead a non-qualified annuity, these are contributions that are after tax dollars, but the growth or the earnings are tax deferred. This is going to result in a mix of taxable income and non-taxable income when the client withdraws the money or if they were to surrender the non-qualified annuity. Unlike a qualified annuity, there is not a requirement for the annuity owner to start withdrawing funds at the age of 72. So they can hold on to a non-qualified annuity past age 72 without there being the RMD requirement. We talked about that deferred annuities can be purchased with either pre-tax IRA funds or non-qualified funds. The taxability of the settlement amount depends on whether the annuity was purchased with IRA dollars or post-tax dollars. When funds from a qualified annuity are distributed to the annuity owner, the entire amount, the principal plus the interest, is going to be considered taxable because these monies have never been taxed before. Whereas funds that are withdrawn from a non-qualified annuity, these are taxes are only going to be due on the interest from the annuity, but income taxes are not due on the principal or the initial amount that was used to purchase the non-qualified annuity. If we look at an example of money that was used to purchase a qualified annuity, we have an example of an initial investment of $50,000 that was used to purchase a qualified annuity. This would have been money from an IRA or from a 401k that was used to purchase this qualified annuity. We'll assume that the annuity has grown to be worth $75,000. When the annuity is withdrawn, or when the money is withdrawn, or if the client elects to annuitize a qualified annuity, the full $75,000 is going to be considered taxable because none of that money has ever been taxed before. Whereas if we look at the taxability of a non-qualified annuity using the same numbers of an initial deposit of $50,000, but we assume that that $50,000 was money that has already been taxed, so money sitting in checking or savings was used to purchase a $50,000 annuity, and now the annuity is worth $75,000. If this contract is surrendered to the insurance company, the initial $50,000 in principal is not going to be considered taxable income, whereas the $25,000 of interest or deferred earnings is going to be considered taxable when the contract is surrendered. Next, we're going to talk about the option of exchanging an existing deferred annuity. With deferred annuities being a lump sum of cash, we can exchange deferred annuities for another type of annuity, for example, a Medicaid compliant annuity. If you have a client that has a deferred annuity with significant growth or a contract that was purchased several years ago, the owner of the annuity could consider doing a 1035 tax-free exchange. A 1035 exchange is a provision in the tax code that allows a policy owner to transfer funds from an existing annuity, life insurance contract, or endowment to a new policy without having to pay any taxes. A 1035 exchange must occur between two like-kind products. So if you have clients that have a life insurance policy, that can be exchanged for another life insurance policy without having to pay taxes on the gain or interest within the life insurance policy. Or a client that has a non-qualified annuity, we can exchange that for another non-qualified annuity. And then also life insurance policies can be exchanged for a non-qualified annuity. The only requirement here is that we need to make sure that the owner of the existing policy is the same as the owner of the new policy. So it needs to be a like-to-like transaction with the same owner of each policy before we initiate a 1035 exchange. Under the 1035 exchange rules, the money must be transferred directly from one custodian to the new custodian that would be issuing the new annuity or new life insurance policy. We cannot have the contract owner or the policy owner actually take receipt of the funds and place them into a new policy. It must occur from one custodian to another. Many times, if we're looking at using an existing life insurance or non-qualified annuity to fund a Medicaid compliant contract, a lot of clients will ask how long this process typically takes. And it really comes down to how quickly the existing custodian will transfer the money into the new contract. And so I usually urge clients to have them contact the existing custodian to have them urge or to expedite the transfer of the existing funds to the new policy. And like we talked about, the owner or the annuitant of the existing policy must be the same as the new owner of the new annuity contract. For example, if we're trying to do a 1035 exchange from an annuity that is owned by Joe Sample, we can't exchange that for a new annuity that is owned by his wife Jane Sample, or do a joint annuity that's owned by both of them. It would need to be an annuity from Joe being exchanged for a new annuity that Joe would own as well. Many times clients will ask if the time frame or the potential delay in doing a 1035 exchange is worth it or not. And it really comes down to the value of the existing non-qualified annuity and whether there's any surrender charges on the existing annuity. If there's an annuity that was just purchased recently and there's significant surrender charges on the existing annuity, doing a 1035 exchange is not going to avoid having to pay the surrender charges. So if there's going to be little or no deferred interest or gains within the existing contract, then it may not make sense to do a 1035 exchange, and they may be better off just liquidating the existing annuity and receiving those funds in order to do further Medicaid planning, because that in most cases is going to be quicker than doing a 1035 tax-free exchange. If we look at an example of whether a 1035 exchange makes sense, in a situation where you have a client that used $100,000 to purchase an initial annuity, and we'll say that this client has owned this annuity for several years, there's not any surrender charges on the existing annuity, and it has now grown to be worth $200,000. If the client were to simply liquidate or surrender this existing policy, they would owe $100,000 of, or $100,000 would be considered taxable income. The initial $100,000 that was used to purchase the annuity would not be taxable income. In a case like this, if we do a 1035 exchange, then the client is not going to have to pay taxes all in 1 year on the $100,000 of interest or deferred gain. Instead, we would be able to transfer the full $200,000 over to a new annuity, and what we would be able to defer the taxes due on the $100,000 of gain. In a case like this, it would make sense to do a 1035 exchange. However, in a situation where you have a client that used that same $100,000 to purchase the existing annuity and now it's worth $105,000, we'll assume that there's some surrender charges on the existing annuity. It probably doesn't make sense to do a 1035 exchange in this case, because we're going to be waiting longer than, let's just say, we'll assume that it will take 2 or 3 weeks to do a 1035 exchange. We're delaying Medicaid eligibility until we are able to get this money transferred over. In a case like this, where there's pretty nominal amount of taxable interest or gains, it would probably make sense to just have the client surrender this existing annuity and use the amount that is received by them to purchase a Medicaid compliant contract or do other Medicaid spend down tools in order to get them qualified as quickly as possible. If we now transition into immediate annuities are the second type of annuity that we're going to be talking about. And like we initially talked about, an immediate annuity is a contract that is scheduled to make a payment within 1 year of the annuity being purchased. It generally is going to be structured for a certain period of time, either the client's life expectancy or another term of years or months. The election to annuitize an annuity is an irrevocable option, and it cannot be undone once the contract is annuitized. It cannot be surrendered, and the payout schedule on an immediate annuity is irrevocable. There are several different types of immediate annuities. There's fixed immediate annuities, there's lifetime and variable immediate annuities. And these are, again, just depending on whether your client wants to receive payments for a specific period of time, or if they want to receive payments for their lifetime, or if they want the annuity based on the S&P 500. That is going to really dictate the different type of immediate annuity that they would be interested in purchasing. Here's an example of an immediate annuity payout. If we consider an example of a single premium immediate annuity being structured with a single premium amount of $200,000 and is structured for a term of 100 months, the monthly payout on the annuity is going to be $2,100 for 100 months, so that the total payout, if you multiply the 100 months times the monthly payment of $2,100, is $210,000. The $10,000 of interest that would be paid on this annuity is over and above the $200,000 that would be used to purchase the annuity. But the big takeaway from this example is that once an immediate annuity is annuitized, the client is no longer entitled to the $200,000 that they put into the policy. They're strictly only entitled to the $2,100 that they would be receiving for the next 100 months that the annuity is structured. If we look at Medicaid planning with immediate annuities, since an immediate annuity has an irrevocable income stream, once it is annuitized, the income stream cannot be altered or changed. And so planning with existing immediate annuities for Medicaid qualification purposes can be a little bit more difficult because the payment stream is going to be irrevocable and we can't change that payment stream once the contract has been annuitized. Unlike a deferred annuity, an immediate annuity cannot be surrendered and it cannot be exchanged for another type of annuity because it is only an income stream once it is annuitized. Not all immediate annuities are considered Medicaid compliant. If we look at the Medicaid planning with immediate annuities, a Medicaid compliant annuity is one type of single premium immediate annuity that's used to convert excess countable assets into an income stream. As a result of the Deficit Reduction Act of 2005, immediate annuities must meet strict requirements in order to be considered Medicaid compliant. There's very few insurance companies that offer Medicaid compliant annuities. There's hundreds of insurance companies out there that offer single premium immediate annuities that will make a payment within 1 year of the annuity owner purchasing the contract, but there's less than 10 insurance companies that offer a Medicaid compliant contract. The Deficit Reduction Act of 2005 requires that an immediate annuity must be irrevocable, non-assignable, actuarially sound, make equal payments with no deferral or balloon, and then also that the state Medicaid agency must be named as a remainder death beneficiary on the annuity contract. The irrevocable and non-assignable requirements mean that in order for the annuity to be considered completely irrevocable, every aspect of the contract must be irrevocable, not just the payment stream. So that means that the annuity owner, if they purchase a Medicaid compliant contract that is completely irrevocable, they cannot alter any aspect of the contract. They can't make any changes to the ownership, the annuitant, the payee, beneficiaries, the payment frequency, payment amounts, or the duration of the payments. Every immediate annuity is going to be irrevocable with regards to the payment stream. You can't change the payment stream after the annuity is purchased, but a Medicaid compliant contract, you can't change any aspect of the policy after it's purchased. The non-assignable requirement means that the policy owner cannot assign ownership. So a company like J.G. Wentworth or Peachtree would not be interested in purchasing a Medicaid compliant contract because the ownership or the payment stream cannot be assigned to them for a lump sum of money. The next requirement is that the annuity must make equal payments without any deferral of payment and without any balloon payments at the end of the contract. Prior to the Deficit Reduction Act of 2005, we could use balloon payments, which meant that the annuity was structured with very small monthly payments initially, and then at the end of the contract, the annuity would make a very large balloon payment as a way to defer payments back into the very end of the annuity policy. The next requirement is that the annuity must be actuarially sound. The actuarially sound requirement means that the annuity owner must receive all of the payments back from the annuity within their Medicaid life expectancy. And this is going to depend on whether the life expectancy is determined by the Social Security Administration tables, which is what most states use, but other states use their own life expectancy table. So we need to make sure that the annuity is going to return the full amount invested into the annuity within the life expectancy of the annuity owner when we're structuring the payout on the contract. In almost all states, the annuity term can be structured so that it's shorter than the annuity owner's life expectancy, but the annuity term cannot be longer than the owner's life expectancy. There are 3 states currently, North Dakota, Oregon, and Washington, that have more restrictive actuarially sound requirements. If you're in any of those 3 states and you have questions about what the actuarially sound requirement is in your state, just reach out to me either through email or phone, and I'd be happy to help with that. If we look at an example of an immediate annuity that is considered actuarially sound, we assume that the annuity owner is 75 years of age and has a remaining life expectancy of 13.1 years or 157 months. If we look at the example of the annuity being structured for 100 months and the initial investment into the annuity is 200,000, the monthly payout is 2,100 and the total payout is 210,000. Because the annuity term of 100 months is structured for a time frame that is less than the full life expectancy of 157 months, this annuity would be considered actuarially sound because the annuity owner is receiving the full 210,000 back within her life expectancy of 157 months. If we look at an example of an annuity that is not actuarially sound and we consider that same annuity owner being 75 years of age and having a remaining life expectancy of 157 months, and we structured the annuity over 200 months, creating $1,100 a month of income for a total payout of 220,000, this annuity would not be considered actuarially sound because 200 months is longer than the full life expectancy of 157 months based on the annuity owner being 75 years of age. Because the annuity term of 200 months is longer than the life expectancy of 157, this annuity would not pay the full $200,000 invested into the annuity back to this client within her life expectancy according to the Medicaid life expectancy tables. The final requirement of an annuity in order for the annuity to meet the Medicaid criteria is that the state Medicaid agency must be listed as a remainder beneficiary. To the extent that Medicaid benefits are provided on behalf of the Medicaid applicant or the institutionalized individual, the state Medicaid agency being listed as a beneficiary really only comes into play if the annuity owner would predecease the term of the annuity contract. If we structure the annuity for a time frame of 5 years and the annuity owner lives for another 10 years, they would have received all of the money back within that 5-year time frame. So the state having a right to recover in that case isn't going to come into play. And there are a few exceptions to the state Medicaid agency being listed as the primary beneficiary. If there is a community spouse or a minor or disabled child, those individuals can be listed as the primary beneficiary before the state Medicaid agency. Some of the factors that need to be considered when we're looking at how Medicaid will look at an immediate annuity that your client has already purchased. We need to look at an immediate annuity that has already been purchased to determine whether Medicaid is going to consider that to be income to the client, whether they're going to consider it to be an asset or a transfer for less than fair market value or an uncompensated transfer. And in order to determine how Medicaid is going to look at an existing immediate annuity, we have to look at when the annuity was purchased, if it was purchased pre-DRA or post-DRA. If it was purchased before the Deficit Reduction Act of 2005 and when that was adopted in your state, then it's most likely that the annuity is just going to be considered income to the client because we don't have to meet all of these other requirements that we just talked about in order for the annuity to comply with Medicaid. We also have to consider whether the immediate annuity was purchased with post-tax dollars or with IRA funds, because there's different rules for immediate annuities purchased with IRA dollars or with non-qualified funds. And then also we have to look at whether the annuity is assignable. In other words, can it be sold on the secondary market to a company like J.G. Wentworth or Peachtree, to companies that actually buy immediate annuities on the secondary market. The DRA outlined all of the requirements that you're seeing on the screen here. The text that is highlighted in gray applies to all annuities, whether the annuity was purchased with pre-tax dollars, retirement dollars, or post-tax dollars. So the state is going to have to be named as a remainder beneficiary if the annuity was purchased after the DRA. And then the text that is on the screen highlighted in blue is talking about annuities that were purchased with IRA dollars or pre-tax dollars. And the text that is in orange is referring to annuities that are purchased with after-tax or non-qualified funds. If a Medicaid compliant annuity is purchased with money in a retirement account or an IRA Medicaid compliant annuity, the annuity must name the state Medicaid agency as the beneficiary. However, the annuity does not need to be actuarially sound, make equal payments, and it can have a balloon payment. Many people believe that the requirements on IRA annuities are exactly the same as non-qualified annuities, but we actually have more flexibility with IRA annuities because we can structure the annuity so that it's longer than life expectancy. It does not need to be actuarially sound, and it can make a balloon payment if the initial investment used to purchase the annuity is coming from a retirement source or from an IRA. The chart on your screen here is showing you the difference in the requirements of a non-IRA Medicaid compliant annuity versus an IRA Medicaid compliant annuity. If you have a non-IRA Medicaid compliant annuity, it must meet all of the requirements that we talked about, that it must be irrevocable, non-assignable, actuarially sound, make equal payments, and name the state Medicaid agency as a beneficiary, whereas IRA Medicaid compliant annuity must name the state Medicaid agency as the beneficiary, and it needs to be annuitized so that it's in payout status and it's considered income to the client versus an asset, but it does not need to make equal payments, and it can have a balloon payment like we talked about. If you have a client that purchased an immediate annuity that does not comply with the DRA requirements, we have limited options with immediate annuities that do not comply with the DRA, because an immediate annuity does not have any cash value and is simply a stream of payments to the owner. We can not surrender or exchange an existing immediate annuity, but the only options for the annuity owner to access the cash from an immediate annuity would be to sell the contract on the secondary annuity market to a company like J.G. Wentworth, or to sell the contract to a family member for cash. In order to sell an immediate annuity to either a family member or to a company like J.G. Wentworth, we would need to receive a copy of the immediate annuity contract. We would then send it over to companies on the secondary annuity market like J.G. Wentworth and Peachtree that would value the existing immediate annuity and tell us what the fair market value is. And upon receiving those valuation letters from J.G. Wentworth or from Peachtree, we would be able to tell what the fair market value is, so that the contract can either be sold to a company like J.G. Wentworth, or if a family member is in a position to buy that immediate annuity for a discounted price, then that would also be an option in order for the Medicaid applicant to receive cash for the existing annuity. Upon the Medicaid applicant or the spouse receiving a lump sum of cash for the non-compliant annuity from either a company on the secondary market or from a family member, then once they have that additional cash that's available to them, we can do additional planning in order to obtain Medicaid eligibility, whether that means doing a funeral contract or a Medicaid compliant annuity, a promissory note, things of that nature would be available options to the client once they have that cash from selling the immediate annuity. If you have clients that have existing annuities, whether they are deferred annuities or immediate annuities, we can help with reviewing the existing annuity contracts and providing you and your clients with options on the best way to handle the existing annuities that they own. And I will answer any questions that people have now. I saw that there were a couple that were typed in here. Okay, one of the questions is asking, does our company buy annuities directly from clients? If not, who do we use and how long does the process take? We do not buy policies directly from clients. We use companies on the secondary market. We'll get valuations from JG Wentworth, Peachtree, and then a handful of other companies as well. But usually Medicaid is going to want to see at least 3 valuation letters in order to establish the fair market value of the existing annuity. So we would reach out to 3 different carriers and see what the fair market value is on the existing annuities. And the process can take anywhere from a couple of weeks to a couple of months, depending on what the which company we use and how helpful the existing custodian is in releasing the money to a company like JG Wentworth or to Peachtree. There is a question here about what would you recommend for a client with deferred annuities purchased with Roth IRA payout that begins in 2038? And it would really depend on if it's a Roth IRA, how long ago the annuity was purchased. If we are outside of the 5-year requirement for a Roth IRA, in order for, so basically with the Roth IRA, you have to hold on to the money or hold on to the Roth for at least 5 years in order for that not to be considered taxable when the money is withdrawn or transferred. So if the client was looking to qualify immediately for Medicaid, we could do a 1035 exchange or a transfer of the Roth IRA into a Roth IRA Medicaid compliant annuity to convert that from an existing asset for Medicaid qualification purposes into an income stream for Medicaid qualification. Okay, if an annuity is purchased pre-DRA, but it can be sold, isn't it a countable asset? In most cases, yes. If the annuity is considered assignable and it does not have any type of non-assignable language in it, it generally is going to be considered a countable asset because a company like JG Wentworth or Peachtree would purchase that contract for a lump sum of cash. There's a question about how do insurance companies arrive at the offer amount when they're buying an annuity that's making payments and will make payments to the surviving spouse. So there is a formula that the insurance companies will use to determine the fair market value of an existing annuity. From what I've seen, there's usually a 40 to 50% discount on what the insurance company is going to pay for an existing immediate annuity, which is why we would get multiple valuation letters from multiple companies to see what the fair market value is from each of those carriers before we would suggest that a client sell their existing policy or even do like a intra-family sale of the existing annuity. Another question here is, can we print out the slides? Yes, there's a copy of the slides in the handout section of the GoToWebinar dashboard. Otherwise, I can email a copy of the slides to you. Somebody asked, insurance companies buy annuities. I'm confused. Sorry, I was referring to companies like JG Wentworth or Peachtree that would buy the existing immediate annuities. It wouldn't be a company like Genworth or a company that issues the immediate annuity that would buy the contract from your client. It's going to be a company like JG Wentworth or Peachtree that is in the market to buy structured settlements or immediate annuities. Okay, I think that is most of the questions. If you think of other questions for me, feel free to send me an email at amber@ashbur.com or give me a call at the phone number that you're seeing on the screen. I appreciate everybody's time today, and if we don't talk before the holidays, I hope that everybody has a happy holiday season, and we will talk to you next year. Thank you.